Today, we're diving into a device that was designed for one pretty wild purpose: to completely and totally shut off the outside world. And not just for a little R&R, but to really find out what happens when you are left completely, utterly alone with your own mind. This is the story of the isolation tank.
I mean, really think about that for a second. We live in a world of just constant input, right? Notifications, noise, light. Our brains are always processing external reality. But what happens when you take all of that away? When it's just you and your own consciousness, with nothing else to do? That is the big question we're exploring. So this whole story kicks off back in 1954 with a brilliant neuroscientist named Dr. John C. Lilly. Now, he wasn't trying to invent the next big thing for a day spa. He was on a serious scientific quest to understand the mind itself. He realized he needed to create a place where the brain wasn't busy just, processing the world, so he could see what it did when left to its own devices.
And for Dr. Lilly, this was deeply personal. He actually used the tank primarily on himself for his own self-analysis. You could think of it as a way to continue psychoanalysis, but in a space of pure, uninterrupted solitude. He wanted to explore his own inner world, free from what he called the constant programming of external reality.
To put it really simply, the tank was designed to be an unprogrammer. The idea is that by stripping away all the sensory data that's constantly shaping our thoughts and reactions, the mind is finally free to show you its own unfiltered nature. Okay, so how in the world do you actually build an environment of nothing? Well, it's a pretty fascinating piece of science, actually. The whole thing is designed to systematically neutralize each of our senses one by one.
Let's break it down. First up, gravity, that constant pull on our bodies. It's a huge amount of work for our brains to deal with, even if we don't notice it. The tank just gets rid of that. Then touch. That's minimized with perfectly temperature-controlled water. Sight? Gone. Total darkness. And sound is almost completely eliminated. It's a systematic shutdown of the external world.
And this precision is absolutely key. The water is kept at exactly 93.5 degrees Fahrenheit, which happens to be the average temperature of our skin. Why that number? Because at that specific temperature, the boundary between your body and the water, it just seems to vanish. You literally stop feeling where you end and the environment begins. So, the magic that makes you float comes from a super saturated solution of Epsom salts. We're talking about a specific gravity of 1.3, which is way denser than seawater. This makes your body so buoyant that you just float on the surface, totally effortlessly, with your face naturally out of the water. You don't have to do anything to stay afloat, which frees up even more of your mind. All right, so we get the mechanics now, but what does it feel like inside? This is where Dr. Lilly's research completely flipped expectations on their head.
See, back in the 1950s, other scientists were doing experiments they called sensory deprivation. And honestly, their test subjects often reported feeling stressed out, even anxious. But Dr. Lilly found the complete opposite. He preferred the term physical isolation because he saw that when it's done right, the experience isn't about being deprived of something. It's about gaining this incredible sense of peace and comfort. And Dr. Lilly himself put it best. He described the tank as a complete physical, mental, and spiritual resting place. The huge discovery here was that the quiet wasn't empty at all. It was filled with this deep, profound peace. But here's where it gets really interesting. This deep state of peace, it's just the beginning. It's the launch pad. Once your mind isn't busy trying to figure out the outside world, it does something truly remarkable. It turns inward and starts to generate its own reality. And the kinds of things people experience in there, it's just a huge range. People report everything from these vivid, waking dreams, what Lilly called visual displays, to deep meditative states, out-of-body sensations, and even these incredible moments of creative insight. It's like the inner theater of your mind finally gets the spotlight all to itself. This incredibly rich inner world led Dr. Lilly to ask a really profound philosophical question. One about the very nature of our minds. Is it just a product of our brain, or could it be something more? So he framed this as two competing belief systems. On one hand, you have the contained mind theory. This basically says that everything you experience in the tank, no matter how bizarre, is just a simulation created by your own brain, your personal biocomputer. But then there's the uncontained mind idea, which leaves the door open to the possibility that our consciousness might be able to pick up on information from sources we don't even understand yet. The tank became his lab for testing these two huge ideas. And this right here, this is maybe the most important and mind-bending takeaway from Dr. Lilly's work. What he discovered is that in the tank, your beliefs actively shape your reality. If you go in believing the mind is contained, your experiences will probably confirm that. But if you believe it's uncontained, you might just open yourself up to completely different phenomena. The limits, he found, are often the ones you set yourself. Now that's all fascinating stuff philosophically, but let's bring it back down to earth. What's the practical value of an isolation tank today, in the real world? Well, the applications are surprisingly varied and really practical. For one, it's an incredibly efficient way to get deep rest. Some people find it even more restorative than sleep. It's a powerful tool for meditation because it just removes all distractions. It can be a personal think tank for working through tough problems, a safe space for deep self-analysis. And on top of all that, the zero-gravity environment can provide profound relief from physical pain. And that really brings us to the final question, the one that's for you. If you were to step into that silent, dark, weightless space and just float, alone with your mind, totally free from all the external programming, what do you think you would find? What kind of reality would your own consciousness create for you? If this topic has captured your interest and you'd like to dive deeper, the book is called The Deep Self by Dr. John C. Lilly.